Hey guys, welcome to MGSV. Sorry if I look like a mess and I sound like a mess. It's because I'm kind of sick right now and it's 9 a.m. I just woke up and I'm in my festive cactus pajamas. They're pretty cute. My blanket here. Alright, so the topic of this video is actually LGBT centered, which is a shock because this channel has recently just become a bunch of random shit, ukulele, monologue, garbage. Didn't I say something about the FBI? Anyway, it's just become a mess, and I've decided to talk about something LGBT for one. So, this is kind of a sore subject for me. I've never really talked about it to people because it's hard. Because I'm not crying, by the way. I'm just very stuffed. I'm very congested because I'm sick. Let's just get straight to the point, you know? Well, I never came out. I was forced to come out against my will when I wasn't ready. So, let's just start from the beginning. When I was about 10, I know that's young, but I was in 5th grade, I had my first iPod for the first time, so I got my first access to the internet and my first Instagram account, which is still the one I use today. Yeah, so you know, I just kept getting exposed to things, and eventually I found the LGBT community, and I was just, like, amazed, and I realized this was, like, in the span of a couple months, obviously. I was just, like, amazed that there was a community out there like this, and I finally felt like I belonged somewhere because I think I had crushes on girls for, like, my entire elementary school life. And crushes on both boys and girls, and I never knew that it was like a real thing. I just thought that, oh, they're just really good friends. I never really recognized it as a crush because my heteronormative young brain. But yeah, that was the time I started to think I might be bi. Of course, I didn't want to tell my parents about this because I was terrified. And I didn't know who I was, what I was doing. I was a giant mess of gay and straight and bi, and I didn't know what I was. I went between like lesbian, poly, pan, bi, pan again, back to bi in like the span of a year. So I just kept switching labels because I was so confused. And at the same time, I was texting my friends about it because all my friends knew more than I did because they were all internet gremlins at the age of 10, more than I was. They knew what gay was in 3rd grade, and I was like, and I started texting my friends, and every time I texted my friends, I would immediately delete the messages after, because my mom would go through my messages, and I was terrified of her finding out before I was ready. But one day, those nightmares became true. I remember very vividly, I was listening to music on my iPod, and I had it set up on this little, like, stereo stand thing, and it would charge your phone and it would play the music at the same time. And I was playing that in the kitchen while I was eating dinner. And then me and my mom talked about something, and then I went to my room and I chilled out. I wasn't really using my iPod. I was like reading, drawing, doing your normal things. And then my mom came into my room and she looked serious, and I immediately knew what was happening. Sorry if I'm a little more like solemn in this video. This is just a real sore subject for me, but I think it's important to talk about. Yeah, but she came into my room, and remember, I was 10, y'all. I didn't know who I was. I'm gonna start crying. No, I'm not. I'm not gonna cry. Not gonna cry. I didn't know who I was. I didn't know what I was doing. I was so confused, and I was trying to reach out. I'm crying. I was trying to reach out to my friends to just get some help and support, and then I was just forced to tell my mom, even though I wasn't ready. I'm sorry. Even though I wasn't ready, and like, I don't know. I've been wanting to make this video for a while, but I just couldn't force myself to do it for some reason. I just feel like I have to get it out there. I think it's important because if some of you were forced to come out against your will like I was, I think it's important. Still not crying, I'm just stuffy. My mom, of course, was accepting, but I think one of the hardest things to accept was I wasn't even accepting myself. So before I was even out to myself, I had to come out to my mom, and I think that was really hard. to come to terms with, and it took me so long to just get used to myself, I guess. I'm not gonna cry. Because people are shit, and even in like 5th and 6th grade, you get bullied a lot, and even though you think people will always be there for you, they turn on you once they find out things. My mom was always supportive. She never was mad or anything, and I think deep down I knew she wouldn't be, but it was still terrifying because I wasn't accepting of myself, so how could she be accepting of me? Then a couple months ago, I decided to actually come out because I'm gonna cry. Because I needed that experience for myself, not necessarily so she knew, but just so I had like a sense of certainty that like she knew, because I'm not crying. I needed that sense of certainty for myself, like, oh yeah, I had a coming out moment, and I wasn't just forced to come out at the age of 10. I was okay with coming out at the age of 13. 3 years, my entire middle school life, I've accepted I'm bi. It'll probably change in the future because my labels change like crazy, but for now I'm set on bi. My mom knows. She already knew, by the way, when I sat her down. She was like, oh yeah, you remember that conversation we had when you were like 10? And I'm like, I kind of deep down hoped she forgot that because I hated that. I'm not crying. I feel like I have to keep saying that. PSA, not crying. I'm just a mess. But, I feel like, yeah, that was my experience, I guess. So, if any of you guys out there had a parent go through your phone and they found all this gay shit on there and they confronted you about it, whether they were accepting or not, I know it's hard because before you were even ready to accept yourself, they accepted you or they didn't accept you. And I think that makes the whole coming to terms with your sexuality or gender 12 times harder than it already is for someone. And that's why I think parents shouldn't go through their children's stuff, because that's privacy invasion, first of all. And I just want their children to be secure with themselves before they secure it with their parents, you know? Because I feel like if your parent is a good parent, you'll feel okay sharing it with them. If you're not a good parent, then your child isn't going to share it with you. So if you're a good parent, just wait and they will tell you when they're ready. Just, please. I guess that was my coming out experience. If any of you are going through the same thing right now, just know that you're not alone. And if you ever want to chat about your shitty parents, you can always DM the account. I'll give you my personal and we can talk, okay? So just DM Miles Gay Squad. I'll give you my personal and we can chat there, okay, ladies and gents and everything in between? Gotcha. So that was my almost crying coming out experience. Hope you liked it. I hope you didn't like it. I don't know. What is this? Yeah, subscribe. Hit the like button if you don't want to. What am I talking about? Just subscribe if you feel like it. Hit the notification bell if you really love us. If you want a free cookie, comment about your coming out experience, and then I'll give you a cookie. Have a gay day. Bye.